Usually, the mindscape is the one place where, we feel safe. It's usually a warm place, bright, where we feel safe, accepted, where we feel like all of our problems are just away. Well, in the dark side of the mindscape, it's the complete opposite. Coldness and darkness is everywhere. The only light sources are candles lining up the corridors, the wallpapers are tearing apart, and dread fills the air. And it's in this place that Laken and Noah had to live a good portion of their lives. The two of them are actually the only ones who developed a friendship relationship. They would always spend time together, take care of one another. They were looking out for each other. They had to, because they knew that at any moment things could go horribly wrong. The dark sides aren't really friendly. Some never got out of their rooms. The only ones out, except Laken and Noah, are the three main ones, and the rulers of the place. Jealousy, rage, and the true leader, despair. Due to their nicer personalities, the deceitful and anxious sides were often picked on and mocked. Rage would often find pleasure in beating them up, mocking them, calling them names, insulting them, crushing them into pieces. As for despair, he would watch it all, a smile on his face. He would enjoy everything. He wouldn't do anything to help. Even sometimes he would punish them himself. And by punishment, I mean physical and psychological torture. It was to make them stronger so they would stop being weaklings. As for jealousy, he would simply stay in the background, watching silently, observing everything, and let all the abuse happen. The more Laken and Noah would fight back, the more the punishments would get worse. Over time, Laken started putting up a meaner facade, acting like despair wanted him to act. He felt like this was the only way for him to not be beaten up and to finally have some peace, even if by doing so, it pushed his only true friend away. But despite everything, Noah refused to act the way they wanted him to, and in return, rage's wrath and bullying would focus solely on the anxious side. It took everything in Noah to gather up the courage to go on the light sides of the mindscape to escape, if only for a moment. Anything to get away from this hell, even if it was just for a second. The light sides were, of course, wary at Noah's presence at first, but they didn't mind that much. Noah wasn't doing anything wrong, so they didn't see why they would shut him away, and that honestly surprised anxiety. Since they didn't seem to react badly to his presence, Noah decided that he could come back, and so he did, again and again. And the more he went, the more he got close to the light sides, the more they got to understand him, and he got to understand them. These small talks eventually grew into full-on conversations. It would feel as if they've always gotten along. This continued for a while until finally, gathering up his courage, Noah left the dark sides for good and stepped into his new home, leaving his past behind him. Of course, that hurt Laken when he heard that his friend was gone, but he knew he couldn't blame Noah for leaving. In fact, deep inside, he was happy. He was happy that at last his best friend could finally live the happy life he deserved, even if it meant that he would stay behind in the darkness, with them. Noah's depart was not taken by the three dark sides very well. So much so, they became even more violent than before, and due to how close Laken and Noah were, they often kept a close eye on the snake-like side. While the anxious side was gone, jealousy and Laken got closer. They would talk and spend time together, which they didn't used to, as jealousy would stay in the background. The deceitful trait felt like he had found a new friend in this horrible place, but he soon realized how wrong he was. Jealousy wasn't okay. He wasn't sane at all. Laken couldn't be alone without jealousy stalking him, without him being involved in every second of his life. When Laken would kindly tell him that he would like to be alone, jealousy would start yelling that Laken didn't like him anymore, and say many more things to make the snake feel guilty and stay. And the more Laken stayed, the more obsessive and violent jealousy would get. It would often happen that Laken would get hurt physically as well as psychologically whenever jealousy would be in his insane moods. On top of that, Rage's bullying started getting worse and worse, and as time went on, Laken was too tired to continue putting up his facade, resulting in even more abuse. This went on and on for many years, and during all those years, while the snake was living a nightmare, the anxious side was living a dream. His self-esteem and confidence had greatly improved ever since he became a light side. He could be more relaxed and laid back, not always scared of everything. He could do what he loved without feeling looked down upon or judged, and the others would gladly help him whenever he felt too anxious. He could finally be happy. He could finally have what felt like a family. But deep inside, he knew he was living this life while his best friend was still in the darkness. And that guilt of leaving him behind and not being strong enough to get him back would consume the anxious side every single night. The host had understood the place anxiety had in her life a few months after Noah joined the light sides. But it took 4 more years for her to finally realize and understand the place deceit had within herself. That voice that would tell her she's okay until it became the truth. That voice that would keep protecting her from being hurt. It wasn't just her light sides. It was also Laken. Despite all of this pain and abuse, Laken would still find the strength to do his best to protect the host and the light sides from hurtful lies. Noah knew that this is what Laken had been doing. He knew it all along, but he was too afraid of saying anything until the guilt that was consuming him became unbearable. Noah eventually told everyone what he knew, what it was like living with the dark sides, and how Laken is left alone in this hell with no one to guide him and help him. Knowing this, the light sides weren't going to not do anything, nor would the host. And together, they grabbed Laken's hand and brought him into the light, where he would be safe, where he belonged. This was a new beginning for him, for all the light sides. It didn't take long for them to accept Laken as a part of their family, and this bond that was created brought the 5 of them closer than ever before. After years of pure torture, Laken was finally in a place where he knew he would be safe, by his best friend's side, with his true family. But if you think Laken's depart was the end of the story, you're so wrong. Him leaving was the last straw. Jealousy's already unstable mind was completely crushed. He became completely insane, and if you dared mention Laken's name, jealousy would snap and try to kill you right here and then, with his knife with absolutely no hesitation. Because of this insane behavior, Rage has no other choice but to constantly keep an eye on him, and she hates it. Her moods have become worse, and her violent tendencies keep growing more and more. Her wrath and hatred are focused on the light sides, or more specifically, on anxiety and deceit, whom she swore she'd made them taste true pain. As for despair, he stayed the cruel, sadistic, and twisted side he's always been. And now his targets were all set. Noah and Laken were traitors. The light sides took them away. And one day, he would make them all pay. Everyone will know his name, and everyone will fear him. Now, a lot of you are probably a little bit angry because I didn't tell their names yet. But considering the time already, their personalities and names will be in the description. Enjoy the rest of the speed paint.